Welcome to Pour the Wine, It's Rom-Com Time, where we'll sip some wine and review all things rom-com on the Hallmark Channel. I'm Amy.
And I'm Gary.
And it's time to pour the wine.
So what do we have today?
Today, it looks like we have another Cab Sav. Shocking.
I know, right?
And this one is C&B.
C&B.
Cartilage and Brown.
Yep.
That's a pretty good one. It's an inexpensive one. But it's pretty good.
This is one of the lower end ones if you're just looking.
Well, not lower end. It's just a little less expensive.
A little less expensive.
So, it's not bad. It's not bad. And we enjoy it.
Yes, we do. We do enjoy it.
I think we've rarely met a wine that we didn't like. Unless it's sweet. We don't like sweet wines.
Yeah. There have been some Cab Savs that we were like, no.
But we would never name them.
Yeah, we were not going to name them.
We would never name them.
No, we're not naming them.
No, we're not going to name them. So today we are going to be talking about another episode of
The Chicken Sisters.
The Chicken Sisters. So what we're going to do is, if you want to hear the entire cast listing, check out our first two episode reviews, because we do a pretty thorough listing of the cast up to that point in the first two episodes. And then moving forward, we're just going to add new people as they come on board.
The newbies.
Right. So we're not recapping the same ones every single episode.
Yes. There's a lot
That's
of
how we're
characters
tackling it anyway.
Yeah. I think that's a good way to tackle it.
Right. So if you want the entire cast, please go and listen to episode 1 and episode 2 reviews by us, our podcast.
Yes.
Listen to them anyway.
I know. If you don't have anything to do, just sit back, put on some headsets, and just listen.
And just listen.
Or make sure to follow us on your favorite podcast platform so you don't miss an episode. If you listen on Apple or Spotify, you can also leave us a review. And hopefully it's a 5-star review, or at least it's positive.
Hopefully it's at least positive. Right?
Yes.
We don't want to tell you what to put as a review, how many stars, but we would like a 5-star.
Yes, we would. But hey, be honest. We can take it.
Yeah.
So, speaking of newbies, who are we adding to the list of actors and actresses on this one?
On this one, well, we have 2. I think there were just 2. Did we see more than 2? If we did, we'll be sure to mention them the next episode. But we saw 2. Barbara Tyson plays Magnolia, and according to IMDb, she will be in 5 episodes.
Okay.
For Hallmark, she was in The Blessing Bracelet in 2023. Yes. You're Baking Me Crazy. 2023. I just like the title of that.
Baking Me Crazy.
Love on the Sidelines in 2015 and How to Fall in Love in 2012.
Oh, okay.
She was in a movie called How She Caught a Killer in 2023. She was in the Netflix movie Devil in Ohio in 2022. She was in one episode of Fringe. A series that I know. That's a throwback, right? In 2010. And she was in one episode of ER with my boyfriend, George Clooney, in 1995.
There's that George Clooney again.
He popped up again. I know he's like 6 degrees of seven bacon. I haven't even had a sip of wine yet. 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon.
I'm wearing off on you. I'm rubbing off on you.
I can relate it all back to George Clooney. Oh, gosh. Okay.
That is funny.
Matthew James Dowden plays Pastor McGregor, and he also will be in 5 episodes total. For Hallmark, he has just done a ton of Hallmark work.
Yes.
So I will just mention a few. He was in Debbie McComber's Joyful Mrs. Christmas in 2024.
Okay.
The Holiday Sitter, When Calls the Heart, and A Second Chance at Love in 2022. And in When Calls the Heart, he was in 2 episodes. He was in North to Home in 2022. He was in 7 Hallmark movies in 2021.
Ooh, he 7. Was busy.
7.
Ooh, let it go.
His very first Hallmark movie or series was in the movie Haley Dean Mystery, A Marriage Made for Murder in 2018.
That's awesome.
Some of his other work includes Cradle of Deception, which was in 2024. And he was in the series V.C. Andrews' Dawn, 2 episodes in 2023. Do you know who V.C. Andrews is, the author?
No.
Did you ever? You probably wouldn't have. Girls my age read it when we were young. We were probably too young to read it. The Flowers in the Attic series.
Sounds.
Petals on the Wind.
No.
If There Be Thorns, no. I had to look up the years because I couldn't remember what years those were published.
That's
But
funny.
it was 79, 80, and 81.
Okay. Wow.
I was reading some
79,
interesting
80,
stuff when I was young, but a lot of girls my age were reading that. It was so good, but it's, it's about a family without giving too much away. They've made movies since, TV movies, and I think there was maybe a movie in the theater.
Right.
I haven't seen it, but this family, this man and this woman are married, and they have, I don't know, 4 kids. And the husband dies in a car accident, and the mom has to basically go groveling back to her parents who have disowned her, and they're like multi-bajillionaires.
Ooh.
And the kids get locked in the attic.
Oh my gosh.
For years.
For years?
So, and there's a lot of stuff that goes on that, like I said, I probably shouldn't have been reading at that young age, but it was a very popular book series.
Man.
In our younger days.
Well, today we're reviewing the 3rd episode of Chicken Sisters. This is War, Y'all, which aired on Sunday, April 13th, 2025. If you missed it, you can now catch it and all of the other episodes on Hallmark Plus.
Hallmark Plus.
Yes. I forgot to get my little trivia question.
Oh, you did. We'll have to do it.
Well, you know what? We'll save that till then.
We'll save it for the next episode. Okay.
Yes.
Oh, bummer. Okay.
So, I guess it's time to drop this synopsis for season 1, episode 3.
All right, here we go. Franny and Mimi's crews try to one-up each other as the kitchen clash competition amps up, but their methods leave sisters Amanda and May conflicted. This is war, y'all.
This is war, y'all.
So what did you think? We'll start with you today.
I
don't know. That's why I asked.
About the last couple of episodes, you talked about the layers and peeling them back. Whoo, some of these layers got peeled back on this episode.
I agree.
My goodness, Amanda, and May, the whole episode as a whole, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I did. What about you? Did you?
Like you talked about peeling back more layers.
Yes.
More in this episode. That's sort of along the lines of what I was thinking. I'm loving the nuggets that we're getting.
Yes.
About each character as those, as they are peeled back. And I love the storytelling and just how well they're weaving the family drama, the restaurant drama, the competition drama with both heart and humor.
Yes.
So you're kind of seeing all that. It's really great. I like that we got a peek at Kenneth and Patrick's meet cute.
I know.
Sort of.
Right?
I thought that was really cool. I love the Sex of the City reference.
Yes, the Cosmopolitan.
Oh, everybody goes to New York and orders
Did
that.
You see
I
the
thought
waiter's
that was
face?
so good. Yes. Like an eye roll. And I really enjoyed. I thought that was great.
He was like, these are pre-made.
So this episode was just chock full. This episode was chock full of the pranks.
Yes.
Right. Of course, Amanda.
Boy.
Switching the
team.
And then you have May. She buys up all the chickens, and then Amanda destroys the kitchen, and then something else happens. So there you go.
I know.
Yeah.
But hey, just for a second, because you've mentioned a couple of times, can we just take a moment and talk about May's guns?
Oh, I know.
Arms?
I know. I did say that when we were watching it.
Yes.
She works out. For sure. If you're watching this show, she definitely works out. I'm impressed. I'm jealous and impressed.
One scene where she had her arm up next to her head and that bicep popped out. We both were like, oh my
gosh.
Somebody's working out.
She's working out. That's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Yes, it was.
Should we dive in? You want to dive into the characters a little bit?
Let's
see what happened this episode? Who do you want to start with?
Let's start with May.
Let's start with May.
Yes.
All right.
Since we're on her.
They talked a lot about how May and Amanda are opposites, which I think happens frequently, right? With sisters or siblings. Yeah. I like that she was kind of impressed that Amanda pulled off the prank. She's kind of like, that was kind of impressive. She's kind of like, hey, that was pretty cool. Because Amanda's like the good girl.
Yeah.
She doesn't do anything, off-putting. She certainly wouldn't break any laws. She, and the fact that she actually pulled off a prank.
Yes.
And can we talk about how serious Southerners are about their sweet
tea?
Goodness. I mean, I knew it was serious, but it is serious business if you don't have sweet tea. And what do we drink? unsweet tea.
They would kick us out of the town,
They
wouldn't
would. They would kick us out of the South. Well, we're kind of in the South, but yeah.
That was funny because I didn't think it was going to be something like that. I thought that she was going to put something that was nasty tasting, but I guess not having sweet
right.
made it nasty.
So Amanda pulls off the prank where she switches the sweet tea with unsweet tea, and all the patrons and Mimi's practically spit out the tea, and they leave because there's no sweet tea. I mean, that is serious. That is big. And we got to see the inside of Mimi's.
Yes.
With customers for once.
Finally,
you've been
customers.
Saying that. Yeah.
It only took 3 episodes, but we got our customers. I am so happy for that. Yeah.
Any more about May?
Well, isn't it funny how, like you were saying, they're total opposites, where May in her life is always thinking about the future. Right.
She's
not present. She doesn't care about the past.
Well, she wants to forget about the past.
She wants to forget about
She
the
cares
past,
about it enough to forget about it. Yeah.
But she's all about the next big deal.
Yeah.
And in this one, you find out that she's doing this because she wants her own show.
Yep. That's exactly right. And
Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead with what you're saying.
But
sorry.
Yeah. And it was funny because when they're showing all of the past scenes, she gets engaged and it's like no big deal. And then she gets down on the floor and starts sweeping up the rose petals. It's like, hello.
Right. Well, because she's a little OCD. You mean about that?
Yes,
she's a little OCD.
And,
but she's, and like you said, I'm really liking her relationship with Kenneth.
Yeah.
Like her friend, she needs that person in her life. He grounds her.
Yeah.
Like we said, I think before last week for episode 2, he's like her conscience.
Yeah. And then
he's like the Jiminy Cricket.
Jiminy Cricket.
And he, doesn't put up with her stuff. And when she starts kind of going off, he's like, I'm out. Bye.
Even when she ghosts him in New York, that whole
right.
We find out the whole scene on how Kenneth meets his husband. And it's all because, and she does confess to him that she worked at Donkey's.
Yes.
And did the badonkadonk.
Yeah. And he starts like, because she acts like she's got this big confession. And he's like, I'm sure he was like, did you murder somebody?
Yeah.
Like, what happened? Then she's like, well, I worked at Donkeys.
He started laughing. And she's like, why are you making fun of my pain or whatever she said? And he's like, why didn't you just tell me?
I thought it was cool when Gus admitted that she watched her show.
Oh,
that was kind of a cool scene. That made May.
Yeah.
Because she's kind of like, do you watch my show? You think you're so hardened and you think, if you're in a bout with your parents and you don't talk to them that much, you think they still don't care, but they never stop caring. It's the truth. And I thought that was telling of Gus.
Yes.
Who also, was kind of like, of course I watched it. I watched one show, whatever she said. Like,
I watched it, but it was only one show.
But it was only one episode. Yeah. So, you want to go into Amanda?
Yeah, let's do Amanda, who's the opposite and just loves the past.
Yeah,
right?
She lives a little bit too much in the past, the glory days. So
she's got all the memories. She talks to her daughter about, and she has stuff around the house that brings back memories.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, she loses it, right? Where she starts doing the pranks. I felt like, wow, she's totally coming out of her shell. And then
Well, I think it's part of what she was talking about was you're starting to see her feelings about being a Mimi's girl. Like she went, because Mimi's girls had such a bad reputation or a bad rap stereotype. She went polar opposite. She says she was always a good girl. She got good grades. She did everything by the book.
Yeah.
And yet she's still in this town, and her husband doesn't pay attention to her, and her daughter's a snarky teen, and she just wants some excitement.
Yeah.
And she thinks that it's going to happen by switching the tea out and,
I know.
And vandalizing her mom's kitchen. And, and boy, she kind of like did a complete 180, and she's doing things now that she never would have dreamed of doing. And it's kind of like Nancy in a way, in terms of her wanting to make that switch, because Nancy's always been the good girl,
Yep.
always done the right thing, stood behind the man, didn't
Right.
stand out front. Only, for Nancy, she's just becoming more outspoken and more confident. She isn't going down the illegal, immoral road.
Right.
She's still, doing the right thing, even when she's upset, so.
And it boiled over in this episode. So.
Yeah, for sure. I do have to say about Amanda when she was going to punish Frankie for, buying the alcohol. When she says, since your main hobby is reading, I've come up short, basically with a punishment because Frankie likes to read. And usually you punish your kids like you have to read you have to read this book.
Yeah,
give me a book report after, and kids are like, no, I don't want to do that.
And then Frankie kind of pulls a fast one on her mom and says, "Oh, look at these beautiful pictures." And Amanda was like, "You're not gonna. Oh, look at these.
Oh, look. Yeah. She got her.
Those. So she got her. That was funny.
It's while we're talking about Amanda, and you see her relationship with Frank Jr., you kind of, like you said, she glorifies the past. She wants to go back to when he paid attention to her, when they weren't stuck in this rut. And it reminded me, there's a Carly Simon song called The Stuff That Dreams Are Made Of. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if you've ever heard it. And if you've never heard it, you should listen to it. Because it's really good. It's sort of it's basically about appreciating what you have. And I kind of like, one of the lines is, don't look at your man in the same old way. Take a new picture. Just because you don't see shooting stars doesn't mean it isn't perfect.
Right.
And I keep thinking about that song. Now, of course, this song is about, your prince is right in front of you. And I don't know if Frank Jr. is going to end up being the prince or if he's, totally changed. So we'll see. But I just keep thinking about that song, and I'm not going to sing it. I'm just saying the lyrics.
Sing it.
No.
Okay. Well, I kind of feel like Frank is kind of goading Amanda into doing these bad things,
Oh, he totally is.
Yeah. But then he's telling Nancy, his mom,
mm-hmm.
Oh, it's all her.
Mm. You're absolutely right. He's totally like, hey, that's a great idea. Let's do some bad stuff.
Man.
Now, speaking of Frank, did you think he was turning the corner this episode, or what did you think of?
He put on some slacks and a button-down shirt, and he was doing his job, right? He came to work, dressed for success, and then fell right back into it.
Fell right back into old habits. Yeah, I mean, I really thought, because you're like, maybe we're seeing a glimpse of what he used to be like.
Yes.
Cared about his work, really just paying attention, dressing nice.
Yes.
Kissing his wife on the way out. I mean, it was like a whole...
Giving her winks.
Again, another 180, he's doing it. And you can tell Amanda's digging it and like, oh, he's finally making an effort. And then only to find out towards the end that, was he changing? Was he faking it? I mean, I don't know. You see him trying. Was he trying to change, or was he just doing it just to do it to maybe... I don't know.
I think he was trying to change, and then when he told everybody he would clean up, something snapped, and
he just started.
He reverted right back to the old Frank.
Rude, drinking, chauvinistic.
Did you hear what he said to Amanda? She was when she came back to do the second prank, and he's like, "Do it yourself." He had said something to the effect of, your mom should be thankful that. I'm in the family because it classes up the family tree.
It's classing up your family tree.
Like,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you're real classy there, Frank. Yeah.
I know.
He's a little full of himself, a little bit. So it's going to be interesting to see if he redeems himself.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think about Frankie and Lindsay, their relationship, the daughters?
I thought
the daughter of
that
Amanda and the daughter of
Sabrina.
Sabrina, thank you.
I thought that Lizzie was coming around.
Lindsay,
I'm sorry. Lindsay was coming around. And then you find out later that her mom said, if you want your phone back, then I need you to do this.
Right.
We still don't know why she did it. Whether she was being recorded, if she was recording Frankie to get some kind of B-roll or whatever.
Oh, maybe. I didn't think about that.
Yet. Maybe we'll find out in the next couple of episodes. But there's something behind that.
Well, and it's going to be sad, too, because, Frankie has her guard up at first with Lindsay because Lindsay was kind of demeaning to her and her dreams and the small town and all that jazz. And then, she so desperately wants to leave the small town and wants to become anonymous in a big town. It's like you always kind of think the grass is greener. Sometimes it is.
Yeah,
Sometimes it isn't, and you have to get through some, you have to jump through some hoops sometimes, to get to that greener grass. And, Frankie might just be one of those souls that needs the big city, kind of like her Aunt May, right?
Yeah.
Like she maybe wants to follow in that. I mean,
Well, you always said, take a year and go live somewhere else. You're always telling the kids that. I always thought that was a good.
Yeah, I believe that you should live somewhere that you didn't grow up for at least a year.
Yeah.
Just to experience a new city, a new town. It doesn't have to, like if you're in a small town, you don't have to move to New York City. I'm just saying that you should live in a different state, in a different city for 1 year, get out of your comfort zone. I think everybody should do that, especially before you're married or have kids. That way you can kind of go, or even if you are married, you and your spouse go and live somewhere else for a year if you can, obviously jobs and everything. But I think that's just really important for you to get out and see. I mean, people stay in their hometowns literally their whole life. And there's nothing wrong with that.
No,
but I just
not.
think it's a good life experience. That's just my personal opinion.
Well, there's a lot out there in that big round world of ours.
Or at least try to travel a little bit.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be far. You can go for a weekend trip or just go and experience the life. And Frankie may go to the big city and hate it.
Yeah.
You don't know until you go. You don't know what you don't know.
And then, yep. And then you don't have to spend the rest of your life going, I should have, could have, would have. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you. So let's go back to Gus. What do you think about, that one scene when May comes, goes to her house and knocks on the door? Oh,
we really get a peek at the hoarding.
Oof. Yeah, hoarding.
Yeah,
is
it's
bad.
sad. It's sad.
Yeah.
I can't imagine growing up in that just because, look at us. We're kind of the opposite. We're not neat freaks, but we don't have any clutter, really.
Right.
We keep things picked up. And I mean, even when the kids lived with us, we weren't like clutterized. We were just, I can't stand it. My brain can't being in that. But I know people do that. There are different reasons and there are issues that they have to address.
Yep.
With the hoarding, I know it's a very serious issue. And I mean, it's sad.
Yeah.
And you can understand why May hated it.
Yeah.
And what do you do as a kid when you can't change, when you're young, you can't change your environment until you get a little bit older and leave.
And she talked about how at night, if she would go to the kitchen or something, it was like walking through booby traps.
Yeah.
Because she didn't know something was going to fall on her. And, and when you're a little kid, in
that's
the dark,
scary.
it's scary.
I'm scared in the dark still.
I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a little bit scared.
If I'm by myself and I hear a creak here, a creak there.
Yeah. But imagine all these things stacked up and you don't, like she said, you don't know if it's going to fall on you. And I thought that was really, but I found in that scene too, May kind of goes off on her mom. Yeah. Right. And then on Gus, and then Gus says, "Are you finished?" Yeah. And May says, "Yes, ma'am." It's like she goes back to that polite, like you're an adult, but you go back to that. She was just yelling at her, but she goes back to that proper, like, "Yes, ma'am, I'm done." And then Gus just closes the door.
Yeah. And that whole scene transpired because Gus, when they were outside of Mimi's restaurant and Nancy and Amanda were there, Amanda tells her mom the only reason she's here because she got fired from Sparkling.
Right.
And that you could just see it crushed her because May had said prior to that she came down here even though they were shooting the second season, started shooting the second season.
Right.
But she didn't mean to say it. It kind of slipped out.
Yeah.
And then her mom was like, oh, okay.
Like grateful that she had come down. Yeah.
And then only to find out she was actually fired.
Yep.
So
she found out the real reason.
Right.
Yeah. I think along the Gus lines, you're really you see more of the crack in the armor, in her armor. She, like we talked about, she admitted she watches May's show. You can see you physically see her hurt
Yes.
when she finds out that May is just there to advance her own career,
Yep.
really,
Yep.
not to help her mom or the family or the business. And I thought it was a sad scene between her and May when Gus is discussing what her friend said, eventually she'll leave, but she'll come back. And then she said, you didn't come back. I mean, I just thought it was a really sad scene.
Yeah.
And then she said, and then my friends say, oh, when she's older, if she doesn't come back now, she'll come back and then she'll be your friend. And she's like, you did neither,
Yeah. And I think it was, who was it? Pearl, Lisa Huguet, if I hope that's how you pronounce it. The two town nosy
the
ladies,
gossipers, the gossipy.
they pulled up to Mimi's and they were talking about, May's back in town. And I think Pearl says, May's back in town? The devil himself needs a cardigan,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Like hell froze over.
Yep.
So, yeah, that was sad.
Did we have any Gusisms this time? Like, don't pee on the seat? I think I remember she said that.
Yes.
They said that was her only form of apology. Nancy.
Yeah.
What did Nancy say? My days are more confused than a bat in sunshine.
Yeah. And she also, when they're standing out in front of Mimi's restaurant and she finds out what Amanda did, I thought it was funny because she got mad and she goes, "You're a dang ding dong.
You're a dang ding dong." I'm going to use that.
Ooh.
Ooh, she really got her. But that's what I was talking about too. Like for Nancy, she really, she's continuing to gain her confidence, but she still does what's right. So in that situation, when she finds out that Amanda did this prank and she was like, I would never touch the sweet tea.
I know. It's like a sin.
Like I would
right?
never. I'd sooner spit on my daddy's grave than switch out the sweet tea.
That was.
So yeah, and then when Nancy, kind of going to Nancy a little bit, she's trying to be supportive of Frank Jr., but he just can't get out of his own way long enough. He tries for the day, right? And she's kind of hopeful and she's kind of excited that he's doing the right thing. And then when she finds out at the end of the day that he's drinking again and he's mean, he says such mean things to her. And he's really cruel to her, but she's starting to give it back a little bit. And then
I love that.
When he says Jodi, because she says, I forgot my Jodi Picoult book.
Yeah.
And doesn't he say Picot?
Yeah, he says Picot.
And he said, it's Picot. Well, I had to listen to it today because I didn't know how you actually pronounce it, but it's Picoult. And I think it's great that she was like, it's Picoult, So it is Jodi Picoult, the author. I haven't read any of her books.
And she also, they had an exchange where he was telling her she walks around here like she's the boss, but she is not her dad, or she is not her dad.
Yeah.
And she goes, and neither are you.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
So
she gives it back to him.
I'm glad she gave it back. Because he's so mean.
Yeah.
What is wrong with his life? He owns a restaurant, right? And it's pretty busy every time we see people.
Well, and he inherited it.
Right.
I mean, he walked right, but maybe he's miserable too. Maybe that's not what he really wanted to do.
Yeah.
And he wasn't really good at it. And I mean, I don't know. Maybe he really wanted something else too. And he's stuck. He feels stuck. Could be. And now we also with Sabrina, right? Her layers are starting to peel apart because, she's trying to shoot this, TV series. She's got her daughter there. She's in the hotel room. The electricity goes out. Right.
She's freaking out. Her computer breaks. She's freaking out about that. And then when the handyman comes in, she confesses all her, I don't even know why I'm traveling and I don't like it and this and that. And it's like, oh, okay. So she's not
that was a pretty
hard
good
shell, tough woman, right?
But you find out, she's got kinks in the armor too. And him, Brewster.
Yeah.
I have to look him up. I believe we mentioned him in the actor who plays him in one of the first two episodes. But yeah, that was another character that we saw a little bit more that episode when he was fixing Sabrina's computer.
Yeah.
For sure.
I think so.
Yeah.
And there was one other thing you had mentioned, and I think maybe
while you're thinking, I'm going to take a sip of wine.
Yeah, have a sip.
You've been drinking. I've been sitting here and just.
And maybe it was the last episode. We were talking about how Gus was holding her hands like she had arthritis or something. Mm-hmm. And you had mentioned maybe that's what Jen is helping her with.
Like physical therapy. Or
Yeah.
maybe he's trying to counsel her for the hoarding stuff. Maybe
Hoarding stuff.
We don't know. I mean, I'm still that didn't really come up again this episode.
No,
with him.
I was just thinking about it.
And Shawnee was in it a little bit.
Yeah, but she was only in like 2 scenes.
But she's still funny. I think we're going to see more. I'm hoping we're going to see more of her because she's the comedic relief, really.
That first episode
for Nancy.
Yes.
Yeah. Are there any more oh by the ways of this episode?
No. I mean, I think we covered every character that showed up in this episode.
I think it's going to be interesting to see what ends up happening, and especially with the end of the episode.
Right.
When you see what Amanda does, I guess maybe we shouldn't say in case somebody hasn't seen it.
Oh, you know what we didn't talk about?
What?
Sergio.
Oh, Sergio.
In the scene.
Yeah, we didn't.
Oh,
in the last scene?
The last scene. Oh.
Well, he's in it the whole episode.
I know, but the last scene was...
Yeah.
Because you start to see him, he's becoming more of a focal point now, too, with the restaurant.
Right.
You know, and when he found out we were sabotaged at Sweet Tea.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's right. He did. Sabotage. Dun, dun, dun.
I know. And Sabrina's like, the camera loves him.
Yeah. I thought that was, yeah, you're right. And then we definitely see him towards the end.
Yeah, because then he catches Amanda in the restaurant tearing everything up. And he's like, "Were you really going to unplug the refrigerator?" I mean...
He's a little bit mad at first, and then he's not mad.
And then he's not mad.
And we find out he's really not mad.
And that's when Amanda comes back after having a little spat with her husband, Frank. And then all of a sudden, you know...
But I'm wondering, too, if Amanda, if it's really something, or if she just needs to feel like someone is giving her attention.
Right.
Like if she's doing it just because it feels good when somebody's
paying attention to you
and likes you and, you know, whatever. I mean, I'm not saying you should, you know, have an affair, but I'm just saying that, you know, I'm just saying that maybe that's more of what it is as opposed to she's falling in love with him.
Right.
You know, I mean, I don't know. So we'll see where it goes.
Because then Nancy knocks on the window and it's like, dun, dun, dun.
Yeah. Nancy got a little preview.
But it makes me wonder, do you think that's what Nancy went through? Mm-hmm.
Oh, with her?
Yeah.
With Frank Jr.'s dad?
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess we'll find out.
Yeah.
Maybe.
All right.
All right. Cool. I'm looking forward to episode number 4.
Number
4. So out of 5 corks, how many corks do you give this one?
I'm giving this one a 5, too.
I agree.
I really enjoyed the episode.
I agree. I would give it 5 corks also.
I mean, they went between scenes. It was a nice flow, and I really enjoyed it.
I think they're knocking it out of the park, honestly.
Yeah, I do too.
I'm loving it.
Oh, and by the way, if you're hearing noises in the background, it's our little puppers.
Our puppers. Our golden doodle puppers.
Yeah, Miss B.
Miss B.
She is restless tonight.
Yes, she is.
But hey, so is that a wrap?
That's a wrap.
All right. Well, thanks for listening. Be sure to follow the podcast wherever you listen so you don't miss one. Also, follow us on social media. If you really, really like the show and are listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, leave a 5-star review. And if you didn't really, really like the show, please leave a 5-star review.
Or a positive review.
Yes, positive.
You know.
Positive.
Join us next Tuesday when we review episode number 4. It's The Drop, y'all, which will air on Sunday, April 20th, 2025 on the Hallmark Channel. Be sure to also tune in on Wednesdays for our Hallmark movie reviews. Until then, fill up your glasses and push play. Thanks for listening.
Cheers.